Hello, it's Victoria from Victoria Gibson, and this is day one of the 5 day traffic boost challenge. And this is video 3, and I want to talk to you today about Facebook ad targeting, right? This is probably one of the skills that's good to brush up on, good to get great at when you want to do powerful Facebook ad campaigns. There's a few things that make a big difference. Targeting is definitely a big factor, as well as images used and copy. But targeting really has probably one of the biggest impacts because Facebook also use this to decide how much you're going to pay for ads. So the better you get your targeting right and make sure that you're hitting it with the right message, the less you'll pay for your ads, the more effective they'll be, the more opt-ins and results you'll get as well. So super important to get good at it. And maybe you've already been trying some and you could learn a few tips from today, or you haven't started it at all and you're not quite sure what to do. So I'm going to use an actual case study here. This is Leonie Dawson. She's got a yearly planner that I've been doing the ads for like, 4 years every year that she launches it. We send the ads direct to a sales page. It has a pop-up as well, and we can retarget, but mainly because the price is quite cheap. So anything sub $100, you can test running ads straight to, depending on the amount of your following. Leonie has a really big following, so it's really easy to use a lot of her list and Facebook connections and the like, who are already going to know, like, and trust her and are likely to convert. So the page works well. She sells out every year and we go from there. Okay, so in when I'm looking at a campaign like this, I'm like, okay, who are Leonie's tribe, firstly? Who are Leonie's tribe? Then secondly, I'm going to think who would like to be in Leonie's tribe, who maybe are not yet in Leonie's tribe. And the third element I might be thinking of is who, is going to find the use for a, business and life planning workbook, be into that kind of thing. Looking at the page, you get some basic demographic information, right? Looks pretty feminine to me. Doesn't mean gentlemen aren't going to buy this, but it's very feminine, right? So we know straight away. We can look at some demographic overlays, okay? So we know that it's going to be females. From talking with Leonie, I know who her clients are, and I know that we're likely going to be looking at women who are, 28 to 55, who are going to be most likely her clients. So I know that demographic information. Where are they located? Well, they're going to be in English-speaking countries. Obviously, the planet is in English, so we've got that other demographic overlay, right? And also, because the price is a little bit lower, we can, try and go out to some other countries outside of our main staples, our main go-tos of Australia, US, UK, Canada, New Zealand. Okay, so we can maybe even try targeting people in Europe, etc. So why don't we go in now that you've got a feel for what the offer is? Why don't we go in now and have a look at how we target that? Now, the thing I'm most excited about is that I've only just seen this. You might have had this for a while, but it's now allowing you to create multiple targeting variables within the normal audience targeting feature. So what this means, you might have realized from the first video that I recorded for the Day 1 Traffic Boost Challenge, was that I said, you can either just put all the countries in and try it just to quickly get it up, or you can split them out. So what this is new multiple ad sets in one step option is allowing is for us to actually add those split testing variables while we create the first ad, and then press play and they'll create the ads for us. So it's almost what a lot of Facebook ads software does. So this is a big step. Having done, been running Facebook ad campaigns for the past 6-7 years, this is like one of the biggest opportunities if you are creating ads within Ads Manager. It's as good as, there's been so many. The custom audiences and retargeting were really pivotal shifts, but this is a great option for saving some time. So I'll take you through this too, so bear with me because I've just opened it and seen it myself. But when you also, in putting together the information that I discussed in video 2 about custom audiences, this is where you plug all those beautiful custom audiences you've created. This is where you're going to put them in here if you're going to use them. Okay, so whatever ones are saved are going to come up and you can write them in. And you can also add a variation. So you could split test a few custom audiences there. And then you're going to run ads to your location. Okay, so we talked about with Leonie, with this offer, that we want to run them to many countries, particularly if we're using the custom audiences. So, for example, if I wanted to use her custom audiences, I might even add more countries because I may want to target people on her list, or people, we've got lists of people who bought the planner last year but haven't bought it this year. All those kind of beautiful segmentations that we can target with certain ads. And the beauty of custom audiences is if we're targeting people who already know us, we can get really familiar with their ad copy as well, which is great. Like, we don't have to quite, explain everything. They're going to get it a lot more, which is fantastic. So this is where you're going to put the location. You can put in down to zip code in America. So you can, if you're doing local area marketing, you can just put a suburb in, or a couple of suburbs. We'll put one suburb in, put the suburb that you're in, because it goes, the radius goes a certain amount of miles away. So it does still include maybe a little more than what you want for just a local shop. But that's probably the best way to start doing that. So you can put in, like, I live, for example, in Melbourne, so I can put just Melbourne in there rather than Australia, right? So I don't have to put in, it's 20, yeah. So it says from 25, there you go, you can go down to 10 miles is the smallest amount it will go. So if you're doing local area marketing, keep that in mind. Another pretty cool feature here is this drop pin feature. So, for example, a way to use this is if you know, say for example, there's a concert on, or something where there's going to be a lot of people in a certain area, you can actually pop this on and drop the pin on that exact area and target people in that location. So that's pretty cool too. And if we were doing a whole lot of cities and we wanted to create separate ads, we do this with the location variation. Okay, so we can put more locations in and split test the ads, keep going down and popping those in, which is pretty cool. Okay, so for Leonie's, I'd be putting in the countries that I talked about before, just popping them in and then split testing and seeing which ones, going back to the metrics and seeing which ones worked better than others. So that is a really, really cool feature. So I hope you've got that in your Ads Manager. The age, as I mentioned, we go to say 28 to 55. So you just pop that in and it's going to be female. So have a think about, when you're thinking about the demographics of your audience, think about perhaps the buyers. If you haven't had any buyers yet, go for some stalking on some Facebook profiles. If you don't have a lot of people liking your own page, go to competitors' pages and take a look at who's posting on there and see if you can have a look at their profile and their likes and their interests and get a sense of who they are, how old they're likely to be. That's a great way to do some research that you haven't actually, had to pay for. If you're just starting out, you can do it that, basically, but hopefully you have a better idea than that and who your target audience is, and you can put the demographics in here and start with that, and that's sort of the first point. So the demographics will make sure that we're getting to the right sex and location, and also you've got your custom audience bit up there if you need it. And you also have an opportunity. You can pop English in here if you're only going for English speaking. Just do English all. It's not really necessary if you're only choosing English speaking countries, like, mainly English speaking countries. But if you're going to parts of Europe and the likes, you definitely, or Spanish speaking countries or whatever, you might definitely want to use that, Asia, etc. And the beautiful thing is the detail targeting, the likes and interests. So this is where we can tap into the hearts and minds and behavior and attitudes of our target audience, which I really don't think too many other advertising platforms come anywhere close to this, okay? So this is where I know that with Leonie's page, they're going to like, people like Hibiscus Moon, Crystal Healer. They're a bit sort of, creative entrepreneurs, feminine creative entrepreneurs, okay? So then the beautiful thing is Facebook's going to come up with a whole lot of things that are like that, okay? Chakra healing is another great one to use that a lot of people in her realm are going to be into. Sometimes there might be specific sort of people or websites. A thing to notice is that they're not always Facebook page names. Facebook say that these are just, interests that people have either referred to or interacted with in some way. They're not necessarily just all people who like the page of something that's listed here, like this dharmashop.com. Oh, that's a great URL for spiritual stuff. But some is, like, you can tell this chakra is obviously like a group or a Facebook page or something, because it's kind of weird the way it's put out there. So, this is where all new age and spirituality stuff is just so beautiful to target on Facebook. It's really easy and it's really cheap. So if you have any of that stuff, get into it, because it's way cheaper than general kind of entrepreneurial targets. So yeah, they're probably going to be into Reiki, spiritual healing. Sometimes I like to go a bit narrower than broad terms. You'll see some of these are really big, like meditation, 178 million people. Like, you're not going to get a great amount of cut through with your ads on a small budget with big targets like that, okay? But if you do go broad, you have the opportunity to then either exclude people in custom audiences or narrow your audience. So for example, I might say, well, I'd also like them to perhaps follow Gabrielle Bernstein, right? She's more of a sort of, Marianne Williamson, whatever it is. I can put in that they must also follow Marianne. Okay, so then I know that, they're in the feminine spirituality place. Or I might say, well, I want more of a creative entrepreneur like Danielle Laporte, right? So they must also follow one of these two women. And you'll see generally that's going to change my location. My number of audience target. I don't know why that's not coming up on the side, but it would. Okay, so we can start narrowing that down. You can also use other behaviors and the likes that Facebook have set up. Okay, so I might want to put in, this is a good one for people who are targeting parents, right? I might want to put parents. Look at what Facebook gives me. It gives me the opportunity to do parents with adult children, parents with teenagers, parents with preschoolers, with preteens. I mean, the amount of information in here is pretty phenomenal. Okay, so you get the opportunity to get in here and grab that sort of information as well, which is pretty powerful. You can also have something about people with an intention to travel. They've returned from a trip 2 weeks ago, or they've returned from a trip 1 week ago, or they've used a travel app. If you're in that sort of, or currently traveling, you can target people, frequent international travelers. So you see how there's all this kind of broad stuff in here as well. You can also look at education, okay? So things like, you just have to type in things like graduate, school people, where are we? Just pop this in. They move everything away. So fields of study, you can put in high school graduate, or you can put in, college graduate. You could put in particular courses that they've studied. If you want to target doctors, you want to target chiropractors, you can put that in. Sometimes if you're doing more industry-based things, you can go after things like associations. Professional associations often have big Facebook followings, so you can use those as well. So you see how you can start to think a bit laterally. They even in certain, depending on where, if you're targeting people in your own countries, they will give you here you see the AU high affluence. So that's in Australia, highly affluent, very high affluence, earn $100,000 to $150,000 a year. Homeowners. So you start just typing all of these in here. It used to be a little more segregated, which made it easier to find because then you can see what's on offer. So it's a little bit more hidden now. See, I can even target Leonie Dawson myself with this as well. Authors like Elizabeth Gilbert, who's going to influence your market. That's what you want to think about. Maybe it's movies they've watched, maybe it's books they're reading. Authors, influencers, your competitors, of course. Hopefully they're targetable. I've got my fingers crossed for you. Not everything comes up, okay? So not everything's indexed or listed. So you've got to just give it a bit of a go. Now, perhaps you might also just want to go for people who've liked your Facebook page. Maybe you've got a strong following on Facebook and you'd like to go for them. You can do that down here. So this is what connections is all about. People who like your page, friends of people who like your page, or you might want to exclude people who like your page. I don't really know why you'd want to do that, but anyway, just in case, because even if you're posting something on your Facebook page, it's pretty unlikely that most people are going to see it, okay? And you can do some advanced combinations of that, people who've been to your event. So there really is so many layers here. It's pretty amazing, the opportunity. So I want you to be able to go in there and see, what's possible and start playing around and seeing how that impacts the number and the size of your audience, and test that and go from there. Start with thinking in terms of your competition. Make sure perhaps you might want to split test some of this age range. So if I go, okay, I might go 25 to 35 and see how that goes, but I also want to add 35 to 45 perhaps. So I'll put that in there as well. So these extra amounts here work really well, allowing us to split test them and create more ads. So hopefully that gives you some more meat to chew on or something. I don't know how I'd explain that. That doesn't really sound that great, but some more things to think about in your targeting. Hopefully you haven't seen this opportunity, some of these opportunities that I've mentioned before, but this can be a really nice way to think about how you can create more targeting as well. Now, the other beautiful, powerful tool in Facebook that you might want to go into, which can give you a more robust view of the targets that you'd be using, is Audience Insights. So you go into your Simple Ads Manager, hop up here, go to All Tools, and then you're going to go to Audience Insights, and that's going to give you some really nice little suggestions and opportunities for you to have a look at. So now it's a little bit more limited. You can't just go willy-nilly, but it gives you some demographic information. It also might give you some opportunity to look at some of the demographics that you might want to see in your own page. So I could look at a certain custom audience, for example, that I've got here. So that anti-launch guide opt-in, right? I want to see that. Oh, it's fewer than 1,000 people, so that's not going to work. Okay, let me take that off. And let me go with, say, I've got this old one where I used to be able to get this software where you could upload custom audiences of people's Facebook pages. It was really good. They got rid of that, but I've still got some old ones. So I'm an old weight loss group, Ashley Bynes Bikini Body. I can see there that, yeah, look, bikini body makes sense, right? 25 to, 44 women. Okay, so those demographics. Who else it's not really going to come up. Sometimes it's going to give us categories and other sort of pages that are relevant, which is super perfect. Where are they located? Okay, this might be a bit old, so it's not really working there. Let me just see if I can get, say, list here and then see what it does. No, okay, that was a different list. It wasn't, here I am trying to find something for you. But you can go in here and you can see, you know, the top location, where they're from, household type, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty great information here. But you might even want to say, okay, people who are connected to any of the pages that you manage, you can go in and see, you know, see the demographics of those people. So that can be quite beneficial as well. So, you know, take a look. If I was going to have a look at, say, Leonie Dawson. So when I'm doing her ads, this might be the first place I want to come and have a look at, okay, people who are connected to Leonie's page. What's the deal? I can see their household income. That's not as important, but I want to look at demographics. Now, it's probably a few more men than I anticipated with Leonie's, 11%. But as we said, it was primarily female. I said 28 to 55. That was about right. But we've still got quite a bit here at 55 to 64. So we could consider just going right up to 65, or even going, you know, spanning the 25 to 65 range for her, because she doesn't seem to have a sort of set range. Here's some categories and lifestyle things there that they make up. So these are the types of makeup in these users that they've overlaid. So Facebook have basically overlaid this with research data from certain countries. So that's how they know, you know, who these people are. There's solid single parents is quite a big one here. So you look for, you know, outliers, things that are going to stand out for you. We can see most of them are married, so we could go by relationship status as well. I forgot to show you that when you were doing the ads targeting, you could definitely do that as well. You know, target singles, target those in a relationship, those who are engaged, all that kind of stuff. So here we can see that most people are going to be married, but you know, there's a fair amount that are outside of that, so it wouldn't really be a key factor there. Higher amounts of college graduates, but it's not going to make a big difference at this point in time. You can go into job titles, etc. So yeah, so it's pretty. This is the beautiful one. Then we go into page likes. So now, instead of me guessing, like, what else are her people going to be into? Can you see how I can go in and go, now I can use Doreen Virtue, I can use Louise Hay, Eckhart Tolle, Brené Brown, Elephant Journal, Hay House, Elizabeth Gilbert. This would be for most sort of creative entrepreneurs, self-development, spiritually aware people. These are some great pages to try. So see how Facebook have just brought these up for me based on fact. Now, it's easier to do these from Leonie's page because she's got 43,000 monthly active people. You may struggle to find that on your page if you have a small one. So this is a nice juicy one that makes it really easy for us to start targeting. So this is where the power is, but I also want to show you, if you don't have the luck of having that and managing a page that you can get those insights in, it's a little bit tougher. But hopefully that gives you a lot more opportunity on where to go to target. And I want you to go now and see if you can put together a great audience, because even if you don't want to run an ad right now, you can go in and save an audience based on these, based on, you know, the demographics and the variables of your ideal client. So why don't you go in now, take action, go and create one of those saved audiences, come back in the group and let me know how you go. What aha, let me know how you went. What ahas did you get? Any insights, any roadblocks, just any general feedback. Let's have a chat about it. Okay, good luck.